If you don't come on stage, it also helps you because you'll get to see varying scenarios and varying ways things play out. So you'll get a chance to really learn and get coached in a sort of a more holistic way. So I'm excited about Monday. Then next Wednesday and Friday, I get to come back in and teach new stuff again. So on Wednesday and Friday, I will begin to teach value propositions. That part of the sales process. Probably the most important, certainly the most difficult part of the sales process is next Wednesday and Friday. Value proposition is nothing more than me finally delivering to you the reasons why you should buy the product. Okay? So that happens next Wednesday and Friday. So today and Friday, questioning and listening. Monday, role play day on questioning and listening. Wednesday and Friday of next week, value propositions. Do y'all see this for 1 second? Y'all see how it's working? Where we're learning it, we're practicing it, learning it, practicing it, learning it, practicing it. And then in a couple of weeks, it's time for the performance, right? For the final Walmart thing that's coming up in a few weeks, and we'll give you more information about that. So that's where we stand in the class. More information to come from these guys. So if you guys are ready, we'll jump in and we'll get ready to run, okay? Let's go. All right, so today, the question. I'm going to kind of give you a feel for why it's so important in not only the context of the class, but also in the project itself. I want to start by telling you a little story about this particular skill. It's going to be one of those then and now type things. When I first started my career in sales, I worked for a company called Pico Foods. I started with Sara Lee and went to a company called Pico Foods and was in sales. I had never received any sales training before. I was lucky that when I got to Pico, I had a fantastic boss who was very patient with me, helped me, and guided me along the way. But most of what I was doing, I was learning on the fly. Anybody in here ever done anything where you learn on the fly? Yeah, kind of? Okay. Learning on the fly is challenging. It's not as easy as somebody going learn, practice, do, learn, practice, do. If I had to tell myself a little bit, in this class, I think I'm so disciplined about learn, practice, do, because that's not the way I was taught, and I felt the pain of what it's like to not get taught that way. I kind of got thrown in the deep end of the pool, right, and was made to swim. Anyway, started my career with this company. We were trying to create business for a new product line. Anybody ever been in the grocery store? You've probably seen bags of individually frozen chicken. Bags of chicken, Ziploc bags, and the chicken breast is frozen, the wings are frozen, right? That's what I started off selling in my career as a grocery store chain. I've been at it for about 3 or 4 months. Was not having any success at all. Calling on a lot of companies and was not getting any interest, getting told no a lot. We were a new player in that game and nobody knew who we were. We really hadn't figured out a strategy yet because I didn't know how to make up a sales strategy at that point. Again, I was just sort of flying by the seat of my pants. And got a meeting though with, at the time, the largest retailer in the country. Kroger was bigger than Walmart at that point. They're still the number 2 grocery retailer in America behind Walmart. Got a meeting with their corporate office in Cincinnati, Ohio. Their head of buying for Kroger. Much like your Walmart scenario where you're talking to the head of buying for snacks. The gentleman's name was Gary Hoffman. A wonderful guy. Probably shouldn't have met with me because I didn't do a very good job of reaching out to him and asking him for meetings. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. But he did. And went up there and met with him. I prepped hard for this meeting. I knew that this was going to be a big meeting for me. It was my first real big corporate proposal. And I worked hard at it, prepared speeches and scripts and had all my stuff together. Got to the corporate office in Cincinnati, Ohio. The Kroger, if anybody's from Cincinnati or been to Cincinnati, the Kroger office is right in downtown. It's a big 15-story building. So I went to the Kroger building and went to the 11th floor, which is where Gary's office was, and sat down in his office and started the proposal. And I don't know any other way to say this except this. Walked in, Gary sitting across from me, shook hands, introduced himself, thanked him for the meeting. Took a deep breath, like literally took a deep breath, and I went in. I went in. It was like somebody gave me a mic, and I just started spitting. And I went in. And I went for 3 to 4 or 5 minutes. It felt like about 20 minutes. It had to be 4 or 5 minutes. Talking about my company, talking about my products, talking about our prices, talking about our processes, all these things that were going to help program, why they should buy from us. Just going in, just spit. And about 3 or 4 or 5 minutes into this thing, I'll never forget this as long as I live. It's one of these moments you have in your life that you never forget. Gary's sitting across the table from me, and I'm just going. And I guess he felt like I had not given even a pause so he could say anything. I swear to God, this is true. Man raised his hand. He did this. And I had never seen that before, in real life. And so I stopped and I said, yes, sir? And he said, well, I had a question a couple of minutes ago, but you didn't slow down enough for me to ask it. So let's just stop and just stop talking for a minute, Joe, and let me ask you a couple of questions about what you said a few minutes ago. And I was mortified. The man raised his hand because I wouldn't shut up. Okay? That's then. All right, now, last week I was at Phoenix, y'all know that. I sent my little iPhone videos to you and told you about where I was and what I was doing. I was working with Stryker Medical Devices. But after one of our sessions, I had a conference call with Shaw. Y'all know Shaw because they were here last week. I do a lot of consulting work with them on their training and recruiting of salespeople, and we do a lot of work with them. But they want us to work with the people who work in manufacturing. We've had some good success working with their salespeople, and they're having a hard time retaining young people in their plants. Because millennials are different than previous generations, and even the manufacturing folks need different things than previous generations. So, had this conference call. The conference call was set up as a call to talk about how we were going to train, y'all follow me here for a second, how we were going to train their managers and their plants to better handle their young employees. The name of the meeting was actually Training Call, about training. Now, in the old days, I would have got on that call and I would have took a deep breath and I would have spit everything I know about what we can do to them in training. How many hours we should train them, how long it should take, what we should train them on, how big the audiences should be, what kind of tools we should have, everything, the whole show, everything. Boom, let's go. Well, I don't do that anymore. I'm getting better at this, and I've learned over the years how important asking questions is. So I started the conference call off by asking a few questions. I asked, what are the problems that you're really having? What are the issues that are going on in the plants? Why do you think that's occurring? Tell me about some specific instances where you've lost people that you didn't want to lose. Are there managers? How old are your managers? And are they used to managing young people? Where did they come from? What's your recruiting? How are you recruiting these folks? What are you looking for to fit? And I started asking questions. And after about 5 or 6 questions, I realized these people don't need training. It's not that the employees, the plant managers, it's not that the plant managers are executing the plan wrong. If you're executing the plan wrong, you need training. Y'all follow me? If the plan sucks, you don't need training. You need what? A new plan. And so the call became about not us training your people. I'm not going to train your people. I'm going to make a new plan for you. And then we'll talk about training your people on it. And I wouldn't have gotten it, and we got some business out of it, it's going to be good. But I wouldn't have gotten that had I not asked those questions, because I thought I had to answer. See, one of the problems that salespeople have, even decent ones, is that we think, it started by the fact that even good salespeople have to be experts. We've got to be an expert. Got to be an expert to be a good salesperson. Expert in your product, expert in your company, expert on the organization. Expert. Got to be good. The problem is, when you're an expert and you're in sales, you can't help but want to share that expertise.